13 News Now begins with breaking news.
All right, that breaking news out of Norfolk. Police are telling us that 2 schools are on lockdown after shots fired in the area nearby them.
And those shots were reported on Sewell's Point Road, and that's near Norview High and Norview Middle School. Both are on precautionary lockdown while police check out the situation. Police say there is no victim yet.
All right, so stick with us. We're still going to be working on that story to get much more information. We're going to bring you those updates as soon as they come into our newsroom.
Now, we've seen Harvey and Irma. Now Hurricane Maria is devastating Puerto Rico.
The Category 4 beast is still hammering the U.S. territory, and now they are expecting historic storm surge and flooding across the island.
Yeah, so Tim is tracking the storm. And Tim, what's the very latest out there in the tropics?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Yeah, landfall this morning as a Category 4 storm in southeastern Puerto Rico made this the first time ever that 3 Category 4 storms made landfall in the United States. Remember, Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, so that qualifies there. First time on record with 3 Category 4 storms. Very impressive looking right ahead of landfall, but it moved over southeastern Puerto Rico, very mountainous there, so it lost that very well-defined eye very quickly. Before it made landfall, check out some of these wind gusts here, up and over 100 miles per hour, and notice one by one they get knocked offline. Also lost radar imagery right out of San Juan as that storm moved on through. Just no data coming out anymore. All we can see is the storm here on satellite as it's re-emerging back out over open water in the short term and will likely re-intensify over that very warm water. Still a Category 4 storm. It did lose some steam. Down to winds now of 140 miles per hour with gusts of 165 at landfall. Gusts were around 165, so dropped off considerably there. Continuing as a major hurricane for the next couple of days, at least through the weekend, before it makes a turn northwards. And from here on out, that cone of uncertainty does grow considerably and also depends highly on what it does with another storm that's out there that you've heard the name quite often. In fact, it's been around for 14 days now. Here's how the computer models see it, pretty much due north off the coastline, but just not far enough to spare the entire eastern seaboard of any issues if that was to actually pan out. So here's Jose, again, watching where this eventually tracks, how strong it remains to see what Maria does. We'll talk more about that and how things look like for the upcoming weekend in just a few minutes, guys.
All right, thanks, Tim. We move to this breaking news now in Newport News. Detectives charge Kiera Hall with aggravated malicious wounding. And they say she injured a 13-month-old baby girl. Emergency crews responded to a child suffering from a medical issue, and that's when they found the baby with numerous injuries. The Hall is in custody right now. Meanwhile, the child is being treated at a local hospital. We're going to have a full report coming up this afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Well, you probably see a stark contrast behind us. On the left, trees pounded with 150-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah, and on the other side, Virginia's Task Force 2 waits out the storm in safety in Puerto Rico. Now, this is one of the rare occasions that the team actually deployed before the storm. They wanted to make sure they'd be able to get onto the island after Maria's destruction. Now, this is already the 3rd time the locally based task force is helping with hurricane relief efforts. They also helped after Harvey and after Irma.
Well, Hurricane Maria made landfall in Puerto Rico this morning as a Category 4 storm. The last time a storm of that magnitude hit the island was in 1932.
And that monster storm has already ravaged multiple Caribbean islands, and officials confirm so far that 7 people are dead, others still missing. ABC's Elizabeth Herr has the latest.
Hurricane Maria striking Puerto Rico head-on with winds topping 150 miles an hour.
7:15 in the morning, and just when you think we've experienced the fury, the top peak of Hurricane Maria, stronger winds, greater gusts.
WABC reporter Joe Torres is in the storm zone, and this group on vacation on a group honeymoon, hunkering down in their hotel room.
We prepared, we have supplies.
Millions in the storm's path, boarding up and now seeking shelter in one of 500 shelters, while others scrambled to fly out of the island last night before the airport shut down.
We're going to Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, so we can get out of the storm.
We hope.
I live on St. John, and we were there for Irma when Irma came through, and she just basically devastated the island. We didn't want to stay for Maria.
Overnight, Maria also wreaking havoc on the Virgin Islands.
Can't really see it, but you can hear it.
John Rose and friends riding out the storm as St. Croix took a pounding.
We moved into our second room. Our first room started having a lot of water come in.
It is very scary.
And this morning, officials reporting widespread power outages and flooding across the Caribbean, battered by Maria.
And with Hurricane Maria still on the move, authorities in Puerto Rico say it is too soon to talk about the full extent of the damage there, but they expect 100% of the island to be without power at some point. Elizabeth Hur, ABC News, New York.
Well, we'll be tracking Hurricane Maria as it makes its way through the Atlantic. And remember, there are still 2 more months left to hurricane season. So for all the latest you need to stay prepared, get to the free 13 News Now app. Just tap the weather tile.
Well, we've got new information in the shooting of a state trooper. Police arrested Carissa Daniels in connection to that incident. So the shooting happened in Henrico County late last night. State police tell us that Trooper C.A. Putnam used his cruiser to stop a car during a chase. They say that she just took off running and shot at Trooper Putnam. She hit him in the arm. Medics rushed him to MCV, and doctors say that Trooper Putnam should be okay. Daniels is still in jail.